Hi, good morning and welcome to a new Meseches Moed Katan, Daf Beis, number 2. It's an exciting Masechta. Learn about Chol Moed, maybe the not so exciting part, learn about Velus. I brought some interesting props today because everybody knows that Gam Zula Tova takes on a new meaning during Chol Moed. You drop the Gam and you drop the Tova, it's just Zu. Chol Moed is just the only thing you think about in Chol Moed is the zoo. If you have kids, even if you don't have kids, you go. Where do you go? You go to the zoo. So therefore, to prepare for Chol Moed Pesach, which is coming up soon, I brought two things today. First of all, I brought a little fox over here. I don't know if you're going to see a fox in the zoo, but this is a fox, and kind of a little bit of a dangerous animal. As dangerous as a wolf, I guess, but fox, you don't want to see these around, but stuffed animal version is good. You can sit on my shoulder, the fox and Benson. And if you think I'm crazy, it gets even crazier. We're going to do, last during Megillah, we drank Katzi shiur of schnapps, Chayvish in Korea. Did get drunk on Purim. Here we have animal cracker, Gan Chayot, Ugiyot Batam, vanilla animal crackers, and we're going to eat animal crackers to get ready to become familiar with the animals that we're going to see in the zoo on Chol Moed. So before we get started with Chol Moed, we're going to pick out one random animal. Today we have an elephant. An elephant, the first animal to get familiar with. Elephants can weigh a couple of tons, I'm told, and they're usually gray. They have very long noses. Tastes just like an elephant. If you ever tasted elephant meat, not kosher, but if you can imagine what elephant meat tastes like, this is what the cookie tastes like. Kids loved elephants. They're big, they're strong, and you'll see them at the zoo. So go there. Go there. We're going to have to eat some cookies every day. Maybe bring in some stuffed animals. We'll have a little fun with this. Let's get started. Mishnah says, top of Beis Aleph. I don't want any of this out. Okay. Mashkin Beis Hashlachin Memoed. On Chol Moed, there are certain halachas which apply on Chol Moed. For example, you're not supposed to do, it says malachas avoda. Normally Shabbos and Kippur, you're not supposed to do malacha. Chol Moed, the Torah phrases it differently. It says malachas avoda. Work that is arduous, or work that is work. You're allowed to do work, just you can't do work that involves a lot of tircha. If it involves exertion, then you're allowed to do it, right? Normally Shabbos and Yom Tov, 39 malachos are 39 creative activities that you can't do. Doesn't matter whether it's tircha or not a tircha. You turn on a light switch, probably not allowed. Even if there's no tircha, turn on a light switch to go up, not so hard. Chol Moed, presumably it's mutter because there's no tircha involved. And there are certain we're going to learn 5 different heterim to do malacha. That is not one of the 5. Meaning, if there's no tircha, most poskim hold that it's not a problem, even if it doesn't have one of the 5 reasons. But we're going to get into 5 reasons where even malacha with a little bit of tircha would be mutter, as long as it's not excessive tircha. As long as it's not excessive exertion, that would be banned. But if it's a little bit of exertion, then it's mutter. If you have another reason why you're doing the malacha, and Chazal said one of those things. We're going to learn 2 of them in the Mishnah. One of them is called Davar Ha'avid, meaning if you're going to lose principal, if you're going to lose whatever money you have, you're allowed to do malacha to avoid losing that money. You can't do avoda to profit, but you could do money to avoid loss. And secondly, we're going to learn this Mishnah about a heter to do malacha if it's needed by the public need. even if you do a minimal amount of
just take a
tircha.
look.
Oh,
No,
Shmuel.
I have to go now.
Wait, eat an animal cracker. Just have an
Okay.
animal cracker. Let's see what animal.
Which animal?
Shmuel is going to get an animal cracker. Let's see what you got. A rabbit. Wow, look at this. A rabbit. You got a rabbit.
Thank you.
Say a bracha. Let the camera see you. Amen. These are kosher. These are Eidach Haredis, the best hechsher. And if you
These are the
go,
worst animals ever.
if you go to the zoo on Chol Moed,
No, they're good. Yeah.
if you go with your kids, when the people are not watching, maybe you can feed the ducks the animal cracker. But you're not really supposed to. I'm not giving a head. You're not supposed to. You have to listen to the rules of the zoo. I'm just joking. You shouldn't feed them animal crackers. But if you have a pet at home, you can feed them animal crackers. Maybe. I don't know if it's good animal food, but
I don't know if I don't think it's really.
you like rabbits, Shmuel?
I think it's wrong to have animal crackers. Everything it's like almost like eating an animal. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know, Shmuel, that if you swallow the red pill, do you know how deep the rabbit hole is?
What is that?
It's a quote from the movie The Matrix.
No, I thought it was something to do with the.
You have the blue pill and the red pill. You would swallow the blue pill or the red pill? Which one would you take?
Yeah. What did you say? Blue
If
pill
you have a
and red
choice to swallow a blue pill or a red pill, which one would you take?
pill? I tried red pill. I don't know.
There you go.
Is that
That's
good?
why you eat a rabbit. Yes, the rabbit hole.
Okay.
All right, shkoyach.
Have a great.
All right.
Great learning.
We expect Shmuel to be a big part of Meseches Moed Katan. Anyway, we're learning. It's going to be a lot of fun. Only in my shiur, it's fun. No other shiurim are fun. That is the truth, right?
Well, yesterday someone told me that his son learns in Beit Shemesh in the Daf Yomi, and they all went out to a restaurant for the Siyum of Megillah. They went out to a meat restaurant.
That's nice. Not so much fun. It might taste good, but if you want to have fun, stay with me. If you want to go to a restaurant and pay for your own meal, they paid for their. It was sponsored by somebody.
No, probably paid.
It was paid for. All right, listen. I can't afford to take you out to dinner, but listen, I can
If
tell
you
you.
want animal cookies, animal crackers, come to
Yes,
the Siyum.
and I can tell
And
you
he'll
what.
send you.
I can tell you what when you go out to the restaurant, what they get at the restaurant, which probably most of the people at the restaurant didn't know what to order. So it doesn't help you go out to the
That's
restaurant
right.
if you don't know what to order
That's
and you don't know
right.
how to order it, whether you want it medium rare or
When Tia is
medium.
opening a restaurant.
I
You heard
am.
it here
That's
first,
true.
right?
Also, yeah, it's something else. We're not going to get to that
We're
right
not
now.
gonna go into that.
We really have a lot to cover today. It's a new Masechta. Thank you, Shmuel. All right. So anyway, one of the things a public need is also mutter if it's minimal exertions. Let's start. Beis hashlachin b'mashkin, beis hashlachin b'moed. You're allowed to water beis hashlachin. There's two types of field. There's a field which relies on irrigation, which you have to provide water for, and there's fields that merely need rainwater to survive. If it's on a mountain or something like that, where it doesn't get a lot of rainwater, the rainwater doesn't sit in one place. That's a beis hashlachin. It needs water. It needs irrigation. You're allowed to irrigate it on Moed. We'll see under one circumstance with Shvius, and on Shvius you're allowed to irrigate it also. Shvius you're not really supposed to do malacha that involves planting. On Shvius it's mutter also. Bein mimayon sheyatza betchila, bein mimayon sheyatza betchila. Whether you're using a spring of water, here we're talking about using a spring of water that is a new one or an old one, or one that was never used. The concern if it's never used is that the water might stop, might fall down, and you might come to do an excessive exertion. So the Mishnah says we're not worried about that. If you have rainwater stored up somewhere, or you have mekilon, you have water that you store, I guess, in ditches or things like that, you can't use that, or wells, you can't use that to irrigate the field. But also in ugios, like fun, you can't make ditches for vines with grapes, because if you make ditches, making ditches involves excessive exertion, and that's not allowed even for davar avid. Same thing with irrigating it from taking megishamim and using rainwater, previous rainwater, to irrigate the field. You can't make a new canal. You can make canals to irrigate the field. Take water from one place and you make a sort of a ditch in a path in the ground to irrigate it from one place to another. You can't make a canal, irrigation canal on Chol Moed or Shvius. So Chal Omrim, then on Shvius you can do that. There's no problem. Shvius is also to plant the field, to bring water is not a problem. But on Chol Moed you can't do it because it's excessive exertion. But what you can do on Chol Moed is that if there's something dirt in the irrigation canal, then you're allowed to remove it because that's not an excessive exertion. Masaknin Eskal Kule Hamayim Shusharam. This is the second heter. You're allowed to, let's say, you have wells or cisterns where they used to store water, and it got broken. It wasn't able to store the water properly. You had to fix it because that's a public need. Mechotin knows done, and you can repair it. Misakne es hadrachim es harachovos. If there's things which block highways or they block the private streets, snow or things like that you can't go, or rocks or big rocks, you're allowed to remove those things. Ve'es mikvos hamayim, and a mikvah, man or woman, not for women, probably not for men. I don't know if it's a real need for men. Ozen kol sarche harabim, you can do anything which is a public need. Mitzaynes akbaros, another public need is to pour limestone around graves so that Kohanim know not to get near there. Also, one of the things you do on Chol Moed Pesach is that the agents go out. It has nothing to do with Heter Malacha, it's just walking, but they should go out to see that there's no kilayim when the plants are starting to sprout during Pesach. You want to make sure there's no kilayim and uproot any kilayim that you find. The Gemara says, for the Mishnah first says that a mayan sheyatsa b'tchila, mayan that is a new spring that is possible that it's going to fall down. It's not going to sustain itself. Mashkin, you could use that to water the Beis Hashlachin, this type of irrigated field. Of course, it should be mutter one that's previously a proven spring that's not going to fall. There's no gzera you might come to do excessive exertion. Why does the mission say the lesser chiddush second? So the Gemara says, Amri, it's the rich, you need it. Itana mayan sheyatsa b'tchila havamina. If it would just have mayan sheyatsa b'tchila, a mayan that already was used, havamina hacha hud the Beis Hashlachin in. Only by Beis Hashlachin, Beis Habal lo mishum da'asila and pule. If we would just said mayan the yatsa b'tchila, new spring, well, it's all would have mentioned in the Mishnah. So we would have said that's only because it's a new spring. A proven spring, the loss and then puli, it's not going to fall down. You could even use it to water a field which relies on rainwater, sustained sufficiently by rainwater, which would be a problem because it's harvacha. You're making the field even more. It needs to sustain itself. Rainwater is enough. You want to make it more luscious, you want to make the fruits even better. That's not davra ave, that's for profit. Kamash Balan, the Mishnah does not allow profit. Loshna Mayan Shazab Tchila, Lamashna Mayan Shlayatsa Betchila, Beis Hashlach, and Beis Habal, only if it's in a field which needs irrigation and not a field dependent on rainwater. My mashma, the high Beis Hashlach and Lisha, that's chusi. How do you know Beis Hashlachim? The meaning, the sounding of the word is a field which is thirsty. It's thirsty. It's hachusa. It's thirsty for rain because can't be merely sustained with rainfall. It says you are weary and tired. These are two words. You are weary and tired. Mishlohi sounds like shlachin, and it's weary and tired because it doesn't have enough water. My mashma Beis Habal lishna de misivusi. How do you know the Beis Habal is a language that it's satisfied? It has what it needs. Ki'ival bachar pesula, when a bachar is together with a virgin, when a bacher, someone who's not married, settles down with a virgin, they settle down, so then it'll be settling, it'll be satisfying that your children will be living comfortably among the nations. Montana de Beseda in Harvakala. Who's the author of Mishnah that says only when there's going to be a loss of principle and it's allowed, but profit, no. I feel makom seda, and even when it's a davar avid, mitrach namil tarchina, we don't do excessive exertion. Amar Avhuna Reb Lezer ben Yaakov. Our Mishnah follows Lezer ben Yaakov. The son of Lezer ben Yaakov, Omer Moshe Samayim Elon Elon, Bavachal Yashkes Isada Kula. If there's a lot of water gathered, when the rain fell, and there's a lot of water gathered by one tree, so you're allowed to divert the water to another tree as long as you don't use it to water the whole field. That would be excessive exertion. Amar the shamasle l'Rebbezer harvacha de lo tircha makom seda mishamasle. So you see that he says you can't do harvacha. You can't mashka the whole field. I'm sorry. The reason for mashka the whole field is because harvacha, it's profiting. You're causing the whole field to profit. Tircha makom seda mishamasle. This doesn't talk about tircha makom seda. Here we're talking about where it's a field that relies on rainwater. It relies on rainwater, so therefore, to divert it is not really doing anything. With the water of the whole field, that's harvacha, but there's no tircha involved over here. So Ella Amar of Papa, how many Rabbi Yehudi? Our Mishnah follows Rabbi Yehudi the sign of Mayana Yosef B'Tchila Mashkin and Meno Afilu V'Sada Beis Abal. They're very makel. He says a spring that even if it's newly formed spring, where it might fall down, Mashkin and Meno Afilu V'Sada Beis Abal. You could even use it in a field which is sustained by rainwater for harvacha. Yehuda Omer a Mashkin al Sada Beis Hashlach, and only a field which needs irrigation, Shacharva. That became dried out. He says neither even Beis Shlachin you can't do it. We'll see his opinion later on. Rabbi Yehuda says even more than this. A person shouldn't clean out a canal and use it to water his garden and his empty space on Chol HaMoed. My charava. What does it mean, charava? That it's dried out. Ilema charava mamish really dried out. Lamli the mashkila. Why are you watering it? If it's dried out, it's not going to sprout anything. What happened was you had a spring that was previously used to water it, but yatsa Allah mayan acher, and now you want to use a new spring. Rabbi Yosef ben Azariah Omer lokach v'lokach loshna charav mayana v'loshna lo charav mayana mayan shatza b'tchila lo. He goes there. He says a mayan that's what the Bryce here is talking about, a newly formed spring. You can never use it because Rabbi Nazariah is worried about excessive exertion. It's going to fall down. It's going to break apart, and you might come to use excessive exertion to repair it. Umimai, how do you know this is true? Our Mishnah follows Rabbi Yehuda. Dilma Adkan l'kam Rabbi Yehuda beis hashlach in beis habal lo. He only allows it for an irrigated field. A field needs irrigation, but a field that relies on rainwater. No, elamayin shiatza b'tchila. He only allows a mayan shiatza b'tchila. A newly formed dilma asila and pule. Like the subject of this brisa is a newly formed spring because he goes there. It's going to fall down. But if it was an old spring, it's not going to fall down. I feel the base habal nami. So he would say that even a base habal, even for harvacha, a rainy field which relies on rainwater, and you're just having extra water. So then he would allow that also. So maybe it's nothing to do with our Mishnah. The Mishnah doesn't allow harvacha. If you say that's Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, who is going to be the author of our Mishnah? Rabbi Yehuda, lo shna mayin sheyasa b'tchila, lo shna mayin sheyasa b'tchila, beis hashlachin in, beis habal lo. It must be Rabbi Yehuda doesn't differentiate whether it's a new formed spring, an old spring. Only if it's an irrigated field you can use it. Not an irrigated field you can't use it. And the second proof that we prove that Rabbi Yehuda is the author of the Mishnah, that he says that exertion is not allowed, even if excessive exertion is not allowed. That's from the Seifa where he says. Yes, so you can't clean out a canal. Now our Mishnah, the Chachamim say you could clean out a canal, but apparently our Mishnah, the Chachamim in our Mishnah is not Rabbi Yehuda. So the Gemara said, "Lo shemayin jazam b'tchila, lo shemayin l'chilatza b'tchila, beis hashlachin beis ba'alor on beis on beis now." I think Tani mayin jazam b'tchila. Why is the subject of the Bryce only talk about a newly formed spring? That is to teach a chiddush in the sheet of Rabbi Meir. That Meir is so makel that even a newly formed spring, which might fall down, even a sada habal, which is sustained by rainwater solely, doesn't need the irrigation. You're allowed to irrigate it, even from a spring that might fall down. Itmar. The Gemara diverts to another subject about Shabbos, which relates to Shvius and Chol HaMoed. We'll see soon. On Shabbos, someone decides he wants to weed out the bad grass or the bad flowers, the weeds out of his grass. And simultaneously, he's going to pour water and sow the seeds that are roy to produce good plants for Shabbos. Mishum my masrin. What do you warn him, right? If you want to make him chayav, you want to make him chayav skila, you have to warn him before you do it. So what they ate him, what do they warn him? You have to warn him for the right malacha. Rabbi Mishum choresh. Rabbi says the malacha he's doing is choresh. He's plowing his field. Rabbi Yosef Amar Mishum is already. Rabbi Yosef says When you do these two acts simultaneously, you're chayiv because you're planting. Zorei. I'm a rabba. Kavasi didi mistaber. Rabba says, like me, makes sense. Ma darcha shacharesh l'pui yara. Just like the whole point of plowing a field to soften the land. Hainami Rapui Arahu here, what he's doing basically is weeding out the field, and he's pouring some water. He's softening the land. Amar Rav Yosef Kvasi Didi Mistaber. Rav Yosef says no, like me, makes more sense. Ma Darkosh Zoreya Tzmuche Pira. The whole point of Zoreya is to help fruits grow, help plants grow. Hanami Mitzmach Pira. You're right. He's taking out the weeds, but his intention is really that the new seeds should grow. Amalei Abaya, the Rabbah, Didcha Kasha, the Rav Yosef Kasha. Abaya says, both according to you, the rain is pouring down over here. So nice to be inside. You know, in Eretz Yisrael, it's kind of cold inside. The insulation is not so great in the buildings here. So even when it's cold outside, it's cold inside also a little bit. So I'm wearing a scarf. You know, it doesn't get that cold outside, but it's still cold inside. America, freezing outside, but again inside it's nice and toasty. All right. Both according to you, Rabba and Yosef, there's a question. Really, Abaye says, really, you should be chayav for both of them. You only say choresh, but you don't say zareh. It's likely you're chayav for zareh also. Rabbi Yosef kasha, according to Rabbi Yosef kasha, Mishum Zareh, and he also says it's only a problem with Zareh. Mishum Choresh, though, he leaves out Choresh. Maybe he'll tell me, no, you can't be chayiv twice. Elachada, only once. I'm a Rav Kahana. Rav Kahana says, Zomer V'sarach Le'etzim. If you do one act, you cut down, you prune a tree, or you prune a vine, V'sarach Le'etzim, and you need the vine. Now you're pruning it to help the vine grow, and you need the wood for firewood or something like that. Chayiv Shtayim, you're chayiv twice. Even though you're doing one act over here, right? So here, really, he's taking out the weeds and pouring water really simultaneously. There, when you're zoning with Sarach Le'etzim, you chayav once for noteya, which is a type of planting. You're planting, you're helping the vine grow, and one for kotzer, for cutting down the wood. Kasha. So the Gemara says really it's a good question. Now the Gemara is still going to continue the discussion. Rav Yosef the Rabbah. Rav Yosef asked on Rabbah, Menachesh Machapel the Kloim. He's going to weeds out, and while he's weeding out, he covers the remaining seeds with earth to soften the earth, to make them grow better. The Klaim, for a mixture of Klaim, two seeds that are not allowed to grow together. Loket, it gets Malkush. Rabbi Akiva Omer Af Makayim. Rabbi Akiva holds an interesting shita. Even if you don't do anything, you just watch Kilayim grow, and you don't uproot it, you're Chayim Malkus. Discussion, Haki B'Chayim, but Lav Shem Omaisa, not doing anything, Haki B'Chayim Malkus. Bishlam Didi, so Rabba says to Rav Yosef to Rabba, Bishlam Didi, Damina Mishum Zareya, I say the Chi of Menachesh, weeding, is because of planting. Hanu da Asira Zriya B'Kilayim. Makes sense by Kilayim. This is a very similar case. He's taking out the weeds, and when he's taking out the weeds, he's causing it to grow better. So by Kilayim, there's an issur of planting. Oh, Dilcha da Amr Mishum Choresh, you say the malacha is here is Choresh, is plowing the field. For Isha B'Kilayim Yasir, there's no issur to plow Kilayim, to plow a field to enable Kilayim, there's no issur. Amalei Mishum Makayim. So he says really the issur in that brisa is not because of Choresh, there is because of Makayim Kilayim. You can see where the Isser Kilayim is, of Makayim Kilayim is said in the Torah. Behind the Kani Seifa, Rabbi Akiva, the Gemara says, Behind the Kani Seifa, Rabbi Akiva Omer Af Makayim Kilayim. Makayim, Rabbi Akiva is the Seifa. He says you're chayiv even for just letting it grow. Michal Tanakam, Allah Mishum Makayim Hu. How could you, Rabbi, say that the Reish is also talking about Makayim? And my answer is, Rabbi answers, no, Kula Rabbi Akiva here, the whole Bryce is really Rabbi Akiva. My Tam Kalmar, it's really the Seifa, is just what's his reasoning. My Tam, why does it get malchus? Mishum Makayim should give Omer Af Makayim Kiva hold. Even the Makayim is chayiv for Kilayim. My time with the Rikiva. Whereas Rikiva gets such a notion that keeping Kilayim, watching Kilayim grow is a problem. The Sanya Sadchal Sizra Kilayim Eili Ela Zoreya. It says this is my permissive part of Kedoshim. You shouldn't let your field grow Kilayim. Eili Ela Zoreya. It only says Zriya. To plant Kilayim. Mekayim, how do you know you just let it grow? You're also chayav. Tamalom, Kilayim Sadcha, lo. The fact it says Sadcha lo Tizra Kilayim, normally in the Torah, when it uses the verb before the object, it would say lo Tizra Sadcha Kilayim. You shouldn't plant your field Kilayim. In fact, it says Sadcha, Sadecha, your field lo Tizra. It says it backwards, so therefore we read it Sadcha lo, and we put Kilayim before that, the part of the drasha, so that even letting your field have kilayim is a problem. Not mashkin being sashlachin mamoed of shvius. The Mishnah says that you're allowed to water a field that needs irrigation. A moed and shvius bishlam a moed mishum tircha. Who? The whole problem on Chol Moed, like we said, Meseches Avoda is doing tircha, is working of exertion. The Makom say the shiur Rabbanan. The Rabbanan allowed a minimal exertion in order to avoid loss. Davar Avid. El Shvias Beilam Adam Mishum Zarei Beilam Adam Mishum Choresh. Whether you're Rabba or Yosef, Zuriya v'Charisha b'Shvias Mishari. How could you allow? There's no heter of Davar Ha'avid by Shvias. How could you allow someone to use a spring to water a field on Shvias? You're plowing or planting on Shvias is usher. Amar Abaye b'Shvias b'zman hazeh. Abaye answers, no. Our Mishnah is talking about Shvias b'zman hazeh, not at the time of the base of Meseches. Rebbe, it follows the opinion of Rebbe. The Sanya Rebbe Omer v'zed dvar Shmita Shmot. So this is the idea of Shemitah Shmot. It's a double lashon. Shtei Shmita sakasa medaber. The Torah connects two halachas of Shemitah. Shemitah's karka, Acha Shemitah's karka, Acha Shemitah's ksafim. There's one halacha, you're not allowed to work the field. Also on Shemitah, this is a Shemitah year. Before the Shemitah year, the end of the Shemitah year, you have to relinquish all your loans. You can't, if you had a loan with somebody, if the loan is absolved, you can't collect the loan after Shvius unless you sign a prosbol. So they're connected. Rebbe learns when there's Shemitah Raisa of Karka, only when you have Yovel. Yovel is this, if you have Yovel, which happens 150 years, so then you have Shemitah Midoraisa. Yovel only happens when Rov of Bnei Yisrael, Rov of the Jews live in Israel. Nowadays it's pretty close. 6.9 million Jews live in Israel. There's about 15 million Jews in the world, active Jews in the world. Halachic Jews in the world. So 6.9, it's about 7 million out of 15. It's not Rov, it's close to Rov. It's about 45%. So, there's no Yovel, and there's no Shemitah Midoraisa. Shemitah is only Midorabanan, there's Karka. So therefore, Atam Meshamek Ksafim. Nashi Etam Mesham Karka, Etam Meshamek Ksafim. So therefore, even since there's no Shemitah Midoraisa nowadays, so therefore also according to Rebbe holds there's no Shemitah's Ksafim, and you technically could collect the loan even after Shemitah has passed. Doesn't absolve the loan. Maybe the Rabbanan, it still exists, but if you sign a prosbol, you have no problem collecting the loan. Anyway, the point is that he says he's totally Shemitah Sakarka. He's saying sometimes Rabbi Shemitah Sakarka applies Shemitah Rice, sometimes it doesn't. When the base of is not around, Rov Klal Yisrael is not living in Eretz Yisrael, so there's no Yovel, there's no Shemitah. Since there's no Shemitah, so therefore Shemitah either doesn't exist, or even if it's only Asr Midah Rabbanan, the Rabbanan allowed you to do certain things. Hey Mamur Vehemamur, the Rabbanan Asr Shemitah Midah Rabbanan, and they allowed, while they were Asring, they also allowed you to do certain things in order to necessitate you shouldn't lose any money on Shemitah. I hope you enjoyed the shiur today. To make the good sound of a fox. What sound does a fox make? That's not the sound a fox make. What is that? Probably like something like that. It's like a dog a little bit. And if anyone has a better sound, you can write it in the comments below, like they do on YouTube. Below, write in the comments below. Yeah, give me a like. Give me a subscription. Me and my friend over here, we need a subscription. Give me your subscription. Give me your like. Follow these shiurim. They're only going to get better and better. Remember, other shiurim might take you out to dinner, but they don't know what to eat. They don't tell you what foods to order. They're going to tell you to get a steak, and they're going to tell you to get a medium well or well done, and they'll ruin your steak. So you go to the other shiur, they give you a free dinner, they give you a free Gemara. They don't have the real explanation. The Maggid shiur can't tell you what's really going on between the lines. She just verbatim giving you what article says. I tell you what's really going on, the real truth. So enjoy my shiur and keep coming back. And come on, please start watching my shiur. I think I have 0 people. I've given you a Daf Yomi shiur for 5 Masechtas now. I started at the end of Yuma, so Sukkot was the beginning of my first Masechta. I began Daf Yomi, a full Daf Yomi shiur. 5 Masechtas, 0 people that listen to my shiur besides my mother, and she puts it on mute most of the time. So no one listens to my shiur on a consistent basis. Maybe you listen to 1 or 2 shiurim. Listen to my shiur every day. help me get my minimum hours, and let's get the show on the road. Bye.